Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is Santi Reviews here with,
Johnny Drinks.
and we just got back from watching Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales. And if you don't know by now, there's gonna be major spoilers, like what you're gonna see right now. The graphic, roll it. All right, welcome back. So that means if you stayed, that means you want to know everything about this movie that we're gonna talk about. So if you keep going, it's on you. All right, Johnny, go ahead and we saw it. Like I said, we saw it on IMAX. I thought it was pretty good. Like the quality, I like the price that we paid for that movie. I thought it was worth it. You know, to see it in IMAX.
Yeah.
Um, it was a fast-going movie, and I thought the story was a lot better than the last two Pirates of the Caribbeans. It kind of did like a full circle almost. You know, calling back from the original three and bringing in new characters and new villains. What did you think?
It was definitely a redemption story, kind of compared to like the last two, because most of us we probably saw it just maybe on Netflix or something, or if you did make the mistake of watching it on, in the theaters or something, it was kind of a waste of money.
Yeah, I saw it on streaming services, and I kind of checked out 30 minutes into it from The Stranger Tides. I think that one was the one before this one. But what I liked about this one is how it started off. Started off with a little boy that you don't know anything about, and he goes out into like the ocean or the cove, and he throws himself off a boat, and then you find out that it's Will Turner's son, Henry. And it starts off with him, and like I said, it goes back full circle. So it goes back to Will Turner, and he's stuck on the Flying Dutchman. But I think it looks like he's just stuck alone, right?
Yeah, I didn't see any crew. Oh no, there was. Remember, because you could hear the sounds of people, and Will was like, "Oh, they can hear you. They know you're here."
Oh yeah, you need to get off. That's right. See,
I remember that.
that's why I brought you. Yeah, and then it picks up 9 years from there, and he joined the British Navy, and he's looking for Jack Sparrow, where his dad told him not to go look for Jack Sparrow. And like I said, he's joined the British Navy,
Yeah, British Navy.
and they're chasing pirates. And then I'll let you go from here. What did you think from the next scene?
So the next scene, I think, is probably when my favorite part of the entire movie, because they're coming up and they're chasing the pirates, and Henry's like, "Hey, don't follow them. I recognize where they're going. They're going into the Devil's Triangle." And the captain of the ship, he's like, "Hey, you don't know what you're talking about. This is treason." And he rips the sleeves off of his uniform, which is supposed to signify something, which we'll go over later. And so they follow him in there, and sure enough, the pirates, their ship is all busted up, and then that's when they see the new villain and his ship.
Yeah,
Captain.
Captain Salazar, and that's played by Javier Bardem. And I thought he did pretty good in this movie. He acted pretty well as like a creepy ghost, and I liked his accent, that he still brought his like Spanish accent to it.
Yeah.
It kind of called for it. And they were cursed like in the first one, and Pirates of the Caribbean, the Curse of the Black Pearl. They were cursed like Barbosa and his men, but I think they had more limitations than they did. And which I thought was kind of nice, because it wasn't like, oh, we're doing the same basic thing. It's just their curse is a little different, but they were still powerful.
They were.
And what his thing was that he couldn't they said the title in the movie, which I was like, they said the title, because they left Will Turner. Will Turner's son left, the only man to survive that whole deal, because dead men tell no tales. And then it picks off from there at St. Martin's, which is in the Caribbean as well. And I'll go ahead and let you take over.
So right there, they start with one of the new characters, Karina, who they're trying to say that she's a witch, and there's like a priest there saying, "Hey, you have a chance to do your final confession before we hang you as a witch." And so she's rambling on different confessions, saying that she's a scientist, and then she's picked the lock, and then slams the door open in front of the father's face, and then like runs off. And then, the next thing you see that cool part where they're talking about this bank and this unpickable lock and this awesome vault that they have. And, they open it up, and right there you see Jack Sparrow just chilling inside the vault, drunk,
Passed out.
passed out.
Yeah, and then he wakes up and he's just, Johnny Depp does his thing, and he did pretty good in this one. I mean, it was not overacted, but just a hair under, where it made sense, like what he was doing. And then it picks up where Jack and his crew are trying to rob the bank, and they succeed to a point, and then you find out that Jack has really fallen off the deep end, where his crew doesn't respect him anymore. His boat, well, if you saw the last movie, you know that the Black Pearl is in a bottle, and he has the bottle with the boat in it. But they're trying to do a new boat, and he's just in a rut. Basically, I think that's where that's where he picks up on, is where he's in a rut, and his crew leaves him. Like, they do mutiny and they just leave him, and of course they catch him and they're gonna hang or crucify. What are they gonna do? Guillotine, right?
They asked him what he wanted to do, if he wanted to be hung, firing squad, or the guillotine. And there's a cool little comedic portion about that, saying, "Oh, the guillotine, it sounds French. The French are delightful. I'll take the guillotine. How bad could that be?" And then he sees the picture. He actually sees the guillotine and what it looks like, and he's like, "No, I could be hung instead."
Or stoned. He's like, everybody loves a good stoning. And then Karina is caught again, and they're gonna hang her. And then this is right before the big action scene. And like I said, this movie has a lot of action scenes. So I think if you like the first one, you're probably gonna like this one. A lot of action, and then we're just gonna skip over this because it's kind of we're gonna leave you some things to see to the movie, but you skip over the big action scene, and Jack gets his crew back, and he gets his little boat, the little boat
out of right there on the cove, on the tracks. Yeah.
And then it goes from there, and then you catch up with our old friend Barbossa, which is played by Jeffrey Rush. He always does a great job as Barbossa. The big thing now is that he's a pirate again, because I remember in the one before he was with the British. Now he's a pirate, and he's the best pirate. And
he's got 10 ships, and
and then he also has in his cabin, he has violinists, and like a 4-piece violinist set and everything. And he looks very regal, like Captain Hook did, with the big coat and everything. And then we find out later that the reason he is so powerful is because he's had the employment of a witch.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That gave him what he wanted, but they didn't say what he did for her. Well, he saved her life.
Yeah, he saved her from the gallows, is what they said.
Yeah, and then so back to Jack, where he Salazar is stuck in the Devil's Triangle until Jack gives away his
compass.
His compass, and once he gave his compass away, it freed him.
And that falls back with how Jack was going on such hard times. Like, it actually went to where he gave the one thing that could help him find whatever he desired to someone for just a bottle of rum.
Yeah, and he freed Salazar. So Salazar was free, and he was the one tearing up Barbossa's ships. He was the one. And what I liked about his ship was it was like a shark. And then he had all the animals that were stuck with him were there with him too. So every time he attacked or something, it was like a dead bird, or even cooler, dead jaws.
Yeah,
hashtag dead jaws.
There was the 3 sharks that ended up following Henry Turner, Karina, and Jack.
Yeah.
When they were trying to get on that little island,
little patch of land. And the sharks. I like the fact that the sharks were there. The animals. And you were going to say something about the sharks chasing Jack and Karina and
Henry.
Henry, right?
Yeah, that was really cool. Like, they're on the ship that Jack had, and you see Salazar's ship rolling up on them, And then the next thing you know, it's like starting to catch up so much, and they just decide, hey, we're gonna do a mutiny real quick again.
Yeah.
And so the three of them are on the little lifeboat trying to get to land real quick, and they're like, okay, you know what, screw it, drop them. And we're like, okay, drop what? Next thing you know, you see a bunch of dead animal corpses or some dead sharks. They throw them overboard, and then they reanimate, and they start chasing the three of them, and they start ripping up the boat and whatnot. And they get away, of course, but that was a nice little action scene with the sharks going, and then you see the dead crew that are chasing after them, and that's when it became really cool, and it showed that they couldn't go on land.
Yeah, that they actually died or they actually disappeared. So I think they were actually like eliminated when they touched land. So that was the big drawback. Like in the first one, the big drawback for Barbosa was they couldn't eat, they couldn't feel anything. They were just like zombies basically. Whereas this one, they look like zombies and they have more, I think more, less the same powers, except land was their big enemy. And then so Barbosa and Salazar team up together to catch Jack because of course you know that Salazar can't be on land, and then that's when Barbosa does a double cross, which is like the big thing in these movies where they don't everybody double crosses everybody, and then they get where Barbosa tells Jack that he wants to free the Black Pearl, and they free it, right? And then of course Jack's captured again, and it picks up from there, you know. And what the big overall thing is that they want to break all the curses of the sea, and to do that they need the Trident, Neptune's Trident, right? Poseidon. I'm sorry, Poseidon, Neptune. And you know, they're trying, like, nobody can figure out where the map is except Karina. She's the only one who can figure it out. And they find the island, and from there, we'll go ahead and pick it up from there.
So, like, they find the island, and Karina had this book, and it was supposed to be able to read or give some sort of clue about this map that no man could read, and it had to do with the stars. And on it was a ruby, and when they find this island, there's all these stones that are kind of placed like a constellation, and the ruby actually completed one of the constellations. And once they complete it, you know, you see like the whole Moses thing where the water just completely parts, and then there's like some like earthquake where they kind of fell in, and they instantly were like right there in front of, you know, the trident for the most part. And then, you know, Salazar's rolling around. And then the next part, I kind of thought that was like really the only cop out that was.
Yeah,
in the movie.
it didn't really make any sense to me because Salazar is able to possess. He possesses Will Turner's son, and that's how he gets on the dry land to fight Jack, and gets the trident, which then frees him from the curse that he was on. So he's able to, as long as he had the trident, he was able to walk on land.
Yeah.
And then they break the trident, which breaks all the curses of the sea. So what the big thing was the crew came back, everything came back, but as soon as that happened, the sea swallowed, like the divide came back together. And this is where it was like, okay, if this was really happening, then everybody would have died. But
yeah,
it's Disney magic, so you see Barbosa coming down on the anchor so they can pick up Jack and everybody. And the big thing was that Salazar made it up, was climbing up, and was going to take down Karina. Yeah. And Barbosa.
Should we even say what the big twist is?
All right.
It was a somewhat twist.
We're going to go ahead and do the M. Night Shyamalan. Go ahead and say the twist.
All right, so the twist is, and you kind of catch this almost mid-movie, you find out that Barbosa is actually Karina's dad. And I think they played it, you know, decently. It wasn't like, oh my God, you're my dad at the very, very end of the movie.
Yeah.
They knew about it, but they just kind of hid it from Karina. And the entire time, you know, and it kind of made a little sense with the compass beforehand, and it guiding to whatever you want. Didn't Barbosa have it at one point, and it started guiding him towards something?
Yeah, it guided him towards her because she was with Jack and all that. So you catch that towards the end of the movie, like you said, and you know, and it it wasn't a big plot point, but it was big enough to where you cared. It made sense versus something that was way out of left field, like that possession thing,
Yeah.
which was way out of left
Because
field.
he did have a good reason. Like, he put her out to the orphanage because he didn't want her to have the life that, that he had.
Yeah.
Where she had to be at sea and be just a horrible person.
Yeah.
So he wanted something, and he left the book there kind of as like a keepsake for her.
Yeah, and was with the anchor, you see Barbosa. Of course, Jack Sparrow throws Barbosa's sword. Barbosa jumps on Salazar, stabs him, and they both fall into the sea. And then everybody is saved. So I don't think Jeffrey Rush is coming back. I don't think Barbosa. If they're gonna make part 5, I don't think or 6. I'm sorry, part 6.
Part 6, yeah.
He ain't coming back. I think contract negotiations.
I don't know. I think they'll come up with something because I didn't think he was gonna come back after the first movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because they really didn't tell you what happened with that witch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He always seems to have some sort of way of coming back, and then there's that new witch that's there, and maybe it's the debt that she's got to pay.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then of course it picks up where it cuts back to the bay where Will Turner's son was at
Henry was at
first, and he's with Karina, and of course they love each other. And then Will Turner comes back on land, and in the beginning he's all full of barnacles and stuff,
seaweed.
Yeah, but he comes back on, and he's like, of course, handsome, just like
good
me.
old Orlando Bloom.
Yep. And then you see Elizabeth Swann come out.
Mm-hmm.
She was just waiting for him, and that kind of sucks. There was like 20 years waiting for him. So they kiss, and it's the big ending, and then of course it ends with Jack and his crew on
starting a new adventure.
Yeah,
They're
on
like,
the Black
we're
Pearl
off to get treasure or something like that.
Yeah, on the Black Pearl. So that's where it ends up there, and of course Disney, that acquired Marvel, now has to have post-credit scenes. I guess when they broke the Titan, you see Elizabeth and Will sleeping, right? And then it's a storm and all that, and then you see the claw of
Is it Blackbeard?
No, it's not Blackbeard.
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones, that's right, Davy Jones, and he wakes up and he's just looking around and he's like, "Oh, it was just a dream." But then it pans out and you see that all the beads that were on him
on his tentacles.
His tentacles are on the ground. So I think that he might come back into this. But overall, like I said, I would go watch this movie again. At the movies, would you?
Yeah, I mean, would I go pay the full price to watch it in the theaters all over again? I may not go and pay to do IMAX again, but I mean, I would definitely watch it again.
I'd probably do a matinee.
Yeah, I'd do a matinee.
Matinee fees. Yeah, and I mean, I thought it was good. So all right, see y'all. So if you guys remember to like, share, and subscribe down below, and comment, and we'll respond to your comments. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off. This is Santi Reviews with
Johnny Drinks.
And we'll be back next time for Wonder Woman, where I think all of N5 is going to be for that one. We'll see. But here's hoping. Comment, and maybe it might happen. So, all right. See y'all.